Tonight's special edition episode of the Sunday Night Talk is up and ready. Omar Carmona joins me as usual, and is he in a good mood or what? His team won on a Sunday night. How can you blame him, right? We also talked the whole day's worth of games that included some overtime, some winning, some losing, some real duds too. A quick check-in on the baseball series too. That's shaping up. Hey, if you're new to my YouTube channel, check out my other show on the channel called Running It Back every Thursday, where I interview a new guest and we do a deep dive into lots of stuff. Their lives, their professions, their experience, whatever happens. That comes out on Thursdays. But tonight, the Sunday Night Talk with me and Omar is up and ready for your listening pleasure. Here we go. All right, it's Sunday night, just wrapped up, 49ers Rams. With me, as always, Omar Carmona joining me on the screen. Another week in the NFL, your team won, and I thought to kick off this week's show, I'm going to give you the on-field reporter question.
Okay.
Omar Carmona, your 49ers got the win tonight against the Los Angeles Rams. You came off a really hard loss last week. Your quarterback had taken a lot of heat in the press. We weren't sure how your coaching staff was going to react. In a word, what does this win mean to you?
Everything. We're going back to the Super Bowl, baby.
All right. Good luck. Go celebrate with your team. I always like when they give them the mega broad question and then the player's always dumbfounded to answer it.
We feel great. Let me tell you something. In years past, there's been something called the Super Bowl hangover. This year, we're 3-3, not because of a hangover, but because we're just hurt. This is a good team. I feel great about Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a great coach. I think that the play calling is on point. But you know what? We just have way too many people hurt. But once we get healthy, look out.
So we could almost do another segment of defend your client, and your client could be the 49ers. And that would
I'll defend them.
That would be a good defense.
They could have confessed and have been holding the murder weapon. I'll defend them.
You're the ultimate defense attorney. You're like the Johnny Cochran of NFL teams.
I'll do it.
So the Niners won.
Right.
They beat the Rams. To celebrate, what drink do you have? You get a celebration drink.
You know what? So the nights that we've lost, if you've noticed, Pat, I've been drinking a lot of White Claw, a lot of sorority girl, alcohol. But now that we won and it was a big win, and against the good Rams team, I'm going to finally have a man's drink. So I got Johnny Walker Black double on the rocks.
Oh, boy. Oh, this was a big win. Oh, my God. Carmona, you're going to be lit by the end of this podcast.
My wife's working the graveyard tonight, so I better, I got to take tonight, but we'll see how this goes.
Well, we do have a full stack of games and stuff to talk about, so the night is open. Anything could happen at this point.
Anything.
The Niners won 24-16?
Yep, 24-16.
Garoppolo is back.
He was back. He still missed some open targets. There's still some concern there. But you know what? We just need him to make plays, to manage the game. I don't think the Niners are asking him to be Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Drew Brees. So just manage the game, and we may be okay.
I don't know how they neutralized Aaron Donald. Did they? I don't even remember them saying his name a lot, other than like, where's Aaron Donald tonight? Big props to the O-line.
It was a great performance by the offensive line. Great performance.
Yeah, even Collinsworth said it at one point. Like, Aaron, if anywhere they need a Donald sack, this is it. It did not come.
Nope, it did not come.
Did not come. They did. They pulled it off. That was and then the Rams were kind of shaky. I thought the Rams didn't, I don't know what you would call it, coach the best game, execute the best game. Goff was super shaky. I'm convinced every third quarter of every NFL game, you can skip. Every third quarter is completely boring and no scoring happens, it seems.
Well, let's talk about that. The Rams have got 4 wins over the NFC East. So think about that. That's the worst division in football, and they swept them. Now, sure, they swept them. But guess what? Maybe those weren't great wins. You know what I mean? They beat they played Cowboys, Eagles, Redskins, Giants 4 weeks in a row, got 4 wins. Bless them. But maybe those weren't good wins,
So maybe the Rams could be the flip side of the argument, and it could be prosecute your client. Maybe those wins are all suspect. The Rams, so big question mark on the Rams.
Maybe just not that great. Maybe just not that great.
Could be. I've never heard that side of the argument. That makes sense. Those are weak wins. Also, like the Rams, that drive where they drove it down and then they went for it on 4th down and they got no points out of it. I'm convinced they kill themselves when teams do that. Why not take the points? It's kind of like investing a little bit of money early in your 401k and having it pay off later. I think teams go for it on 4th down too much. 5 years ago, I would have said the exact opposite.
I'm with you on that one, bud.
Yeah, because then they have a great drive and then they don't get points and they totally lose all the momentum and then give a little momentum to the defense. So they come back. Right. Double hard. Same thing with the 2-point conversions. When you score a touchdown and you miss the 2-point conversion, it's like you didn't even score a touchdown. So I think they sort of were going downhill after that. I think towards the end of the game, did you catch that little run by Garoppolo where he sort of
Collinsworth mentioned.
I was going to say the same thing. He loved that run.
Classic Collinsworth says, he's gonna earn a lot more fans in the locker room with that kind of dive. And you know what? Maybe he did. It was a good run. I got to give him his credit. Big ups to Jimmy G.
Collinsworth loved it. And then I like that Collinsworth has to take a little dig at Chicago with Robbie Gould making the field goal for San Francisco.
He did.
If only Robbie Gould would have stayed, what would have happened? I'm like, nice dig, Collinsworth. Excellent. Yeah, rough week for analytics, I would say.
For sure.
A lot of overthinking 2-point conversions and 4th downs. I think that little bit put the Rams on the back foot and they never quite recovered. A couple drop balls, a couple little play selections. They could have been in this game, but they never really got close. That was a little bit of a garbage time, TD.
It totally was. You know what? And they're not a bad team. I just don't think they reflected the record they came in with. So I wasn't at all shocked that the Niners at 2-3 beat them. I wasn't shocked.
Moving forward, who do the Niners have next?
You know what? Good question. I think maybe was it Seattle? I don't know.
They showed somebody's schedule at some point, and it looked really hard. I don't know if it was the Rams or the Niners.
It was the Niners. It was the 49ers.
That was the Niners.
I will get. You let me pull it up, but I did see the Seahawks. I saw the Saints. I saw the Bills, the Patriots, and the Packers. I mean, I don't know in what order, but those were the 5. And you know what? That's going to be who knows how tough the Patriots really are this year. I mean, are they playing for a high pick in the draft? Right. Who knows? But I mean, if they still got to play the Packers, who didn't look great, they play the Saints, who they're not the same Saints. The Seahawks, I think, are great. So we'll see. We'll really see how good the Niners are these next 5 weeks.
I just looked at, let's see, Garoppolo's stat line: 23 for 33, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and then here's a big one: no sacks, too. Pretty complete game.
We'll take it. And to answer your question, next week we're at Patriots. The following week at Seahawks. And playing in Foxborough is never easy. And then to go, at Seattle the next week. Then we got home against Green Bay, at Saints, at Rams, home Bills. So it's 6 games that the Niners are going to have to really get it together.
I think we'll have a good understanding. That's a gauntlet for sure. Who knows what team's going to be what with this year, but yeah, looking at that, like that's a lot of effort that's going to be put in.
You know,
to
and
the
it's funny
Niners.
that I
It
said
started
like,
off
hey,
well tonight.
it's funny that I said at Foxborough, but no one's watching the game at Fox. So who knows how it's going to go.
It's true.
It's so hard to talk yourself into the fact that maybe there is no home field advantage this year, but I don't know.
Right. The home field is different. That's true. The only thing you really got to contend with is flying cross country, but crowd wise, it's a different ball game.
Game did you watch this week?
Okay, your game, my game. I went with Chicago at Carolina. That's the one I dove into. I had 2 early games going, and it was Chicago, Carolina. On the other screen, I had Cleveland, Pittsburgh. When's the last time we had 2 early games that were actually good matchups? Usually the early games, a couple of skippable ones.
I'll tell you, I watched the Cleveland Pittsburgh game, but go on with the Bears. It was that Bears Panthers was a funny game because you're thinking to yourself, wow, like I had no idea at some point this season this would be a big game between the Panthers and the Bears. You know what I mean? Like, you think it's 2 maybe non-playoff teams. They're, maybe trying to get a wild card, but likely not. But you know what? It was a good game. And the Bears walked out 5-1. That's huge.
The Bears, first of all, I would say after this win, I think we can officially say Trubisky, who? Foles was fine. He wasn't great, but he was totally fine. He was confident out there. He didn't lose the game for his team or anything.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then they played a pretty feisty Carolina team who doesn't have their guy Christian McCarthy, but they're still good. They still play tough. They play against Teddy Two Gloves Bridgewater. Did you notice that Teddy Bridgewater wears 2 white gloves?
I don't get that.
He throws with 2 white gloves, Teddy white gloves. So, but yeah, tough game, and they put it away. The Bears D was good. The only other, like, it wasn't that exciting of a game. The only thing exciting about it was, again, watching the CBS programming and seeing what is on for the CBS Sunday night movie again. Did you catch that? Are you going to watch the CBS Sunday night movie?
Bueller.
I feel like someone needs to say that to the CBS executive picking these movies.
That's
Ferris
crazy.
Bueller, the Sunday night movie.
That's a little nutty. It's a little nutty. And by the way, this just in, the LA Dodgers came back from 3-1 down to beat the Braves.
Is it official?
It's official. They're going to the World Series against the D-Rays.
Wow.
I guess I say the D-Rays, but I think they're called the Rays now because I don't think it's politically correct to say devil anymore. But
they were the Devil Rays? I don't even remember that.
Yeah, they changed it. They're the Rays now, but the Dodgers are going to the World Series. The Dodgers have to win this series because they're fast becoming the 90s Braves. Remember the 90s Braves did really well. They made it to the playoffs. They did great in the regular season, but they didn't win. Remember that? Right. And the Dodgers have fast become the Braves of the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Braves. Who else could you put in that mix of the 90s? Oh, obviously the Bills.
No, the Bills didn't win. The Bills didn't win. You could put any team that went up against Michael Jordan. I mean, the Jazz didn't win. The
Jazz lost twice. You're right.
The Knicks didn't win. It took the Rockets won too because Michael was retired. We'll go with retired.
He was retired. That's right. Michigan Wolverines lost 2 basketball championships as well. So yeah, Dodgers they haven't. They were in last year's World Series, right?
They've been in a few World Series the last few years.
They lost them all. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm a Red Sox guy, and I know a couple. Maybe 3 years. Was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago that the Red Sox beat them. So it's a team that gets there, but they just don't know what to do once they get there. But we'll see. And I will say, as long as the Astros didn't make it, I'm completely fine.
I did watch. It was a Game 7 World Series. Was it a year ago? Maybe 2 years ago, and it was on Halloween. if I remember right. And I was at a kid's Halloween party, like my nephews had a Halloween party. I was like, well, I'll get to watch the game, but it's like kids running around in Halloween costumes and candy. And I think the Dodgers got blown out. And it was about the saddest party you can imagine, where kids don't give a shit. They're playing, all the adults are kind of watching it. And then they kind of like just sneak away. Sad, sad Halloween party.
Yes, screw the kid.
Here is Foles' stat line.
All
He
right,
went 23 for 39, 198 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick. Really pedestrian, but got the job done. Bears are 5-1. I don't think anybody still knows what to think of 5-1.
You know what? But you know what? It seems like every now and then we get a team that ends up like going into the playoffs at 13-3, and you say to yourself, wow, they're 13-3, they're 14-2, but they're not that good. It's just
Right.
the way the schedule, and that may be the Bears, but we'll see, because their defense is good. I'm not going to say great. Their offense seems to be moving, but I'm not going to say great. So we'll see what happens with these Bears. It's something to pay attention to this year.
Yeah, they're finding ways to win. They're grinding. I think that was a grinded out win because it wasn't that competitive a game, but yet they had to grind it out.
Well, let's talk about a game I thought was going to be competitive, and that was my game.
I thought the same thing.
I thought that the Browns Steelers. Do you remember last year the Niners and Seahawks played at the last week, and it was like either you're the number 1 seed or you're the number 5 seed going to the playoffs. I thought that maybe this was a preview of a game like that it's going to be Steelers, Browns, the old AFC Central, if you remember back in the day. The old black and blue division. I thought that was going to be maybe a big playoff preview. It was a terrible, terrible game to watch that I had to endure this week. The Browns just didn't have it. No. Baker Mayfield was just not good. He threw that early pick 6, but even after that pick 6, Odell Beckham only has 2 catches after that. Less than 30 yards. I mean, you've got to get the ball to your playmakers. And if you can't do that, you're not going to win in this league. They have Hunt at running back, and he just couldn't, break out. But Landry had some garbage, receiving yards at the end. But it was just not a good performance. The Steelers overwhelmed the Browns. So which brings me to my point. How good are the Steelers?
Steelers are 5-0.
They're 5-0. I mean, they're undefeated.
Really quiet 5-0.
That's real quiet 5-0. Led by a quarterback. I hate to out my age, but guess what? I'm older than Big Ben, and he's old. Okay,
yeah.
He's an old dude. All right.
Once you get to kind of like mid-30s on, and if you don't want to feel old, never watch sports.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Never watch it, because in your teens to 20s, you're always kind of like, I still got a shot. You still kind of think that. And then once you get to like mid-30s, there'll be someone who's 32 and the announcer will be like, that guy's washed up, man. Though he's at the twilight of his career. So yeah, never watch sports. And then also it doesn't help that some of the players that are 21, 22 years old look like they're 37.
Right. Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
It messes with your head big time. So also with Cleveland, I never seen with Baker Mayfield, I never seen anybody try so hard, but yet do so bad. Like he tries so hard and the effort's there, but the passes all over the
you saw it too. He was just forcing it. He forced it the entire game. And I think that's I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the Steelers still win that game even without Baker's interceptions, but you know what? It just wasn't competitive with Baker on the field. Bottom line.
Not at all. I think the first quarter was 10-zip or 7-zip, and then it was an avalanche after that. Score after score. Mayfield's getting sacked and stuff. A lot of like offsides penalties too. There's a lot of defensive lines are jumping off sides now.
And guess what, Pat? That means they're still the Browns.
Yeah,
still the Browns.
This was a definitely regression game for them. Not only did they lose, but they looked really bad doing it. Hey, have you noticed this? when you watch games, if you're on antenna or DirecTV, the DirecTV has a delay compared to the antenna. So inevitably you'll get a text from like a friend who's watching the same game and it'll be like, what a play. And you'll be like, what are you talking about? Nothing happened. And then 17 seconds later, the touchdown happens or whatever. Can we fix this DirecTV? By now we can't figure out how to be it's like 17 or 20 seconds.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, how can we if you pay for DirecTV, why are we the ones who are behind in the plays? I've had it happen multiple times.
That's a lot of money going down the drain, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, on another date. But I'm about ready to dump DirecTV and the Sunday ticket. But anyway,
how long have you had the Sunday ticket for? How many years?
Man, I've had it. I mean, since I moved back home after law school, I probably had it now going on 12 years. And it was great, but now AT&T sucks. Their internet sucks, and I got connectivity issues. So I think I'm done with DirecTV. It's time to stream like everyone else is.
How do you watch the game? Do you do the 4-pack screen? Do you do red zone? Because I've had a Sunday ticket before, and I burned out on the 4-pack, the multiple screens. I just would sort of look around. I never really watched a game. You have to commit to one and just watch a game. I'm convinced.
It's such a hard choice to make. But my rule is this: if your team is playing, you at least got to have the red zone channel, right? I mean, you want to zoom in at some point at your team's game. But if your team is not playing, and let's say, for instance, you have the early. I would do channel 702 to get to at least watch 8 games going on at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
The other one I do like the red zone where they pop around to different games because there's no commercials.
Right.
So they just sort of, here's what's going on over here. Here's what's going on over here. And you just you're dancing around. It's a total sampler plate. But yeah, when I did have it, I would end up essentially not really figuring out what's going on with any game. I'm just sort of taking little bites of each one, not knowing the score, not knowing the situation. So red zone is not as easy as you would think to watch a game.
It's true. Very true. Very true. What else you got?
I got some other games that I took a peek at. Game number 1, this was the game of the week, and that's spelled WEAK. That was New York Giants at the Washington Redskins. Somebody won. I don't know. I didn't even watch it, but I know somebody won that game.
Who won that game?
I don't know. I think the Giants won. I don't even know. Double check me, but I didn't even bother. I saw that matchup. Like, that's the game of the week, WEAK, and that's all the thought I'm putting into that.
The Giants won the game.
Giants won. That's their first win, right?
First win. They're both teams walked out 1-5.
So
yeah, that was weak. That was weak.
Game of the week.
And you know what? I'm gonna do. I'll piggyback off that. The Falcons won their first game, 40-23 against the Vikings, and they're both 1-5. And we're talking about 2 teams that have had recent playoff success. So I mean, they've really fallen hard.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A couple of rough matchups with some poor performing teams. How about Houston, Tennessee ended up being a good game.
Great game.
Yeah, Tennessee is so strong, and in Houston came ready. That's the thing with Houston; they always play to the level of competition.
Always.
But yeah, whether it's a good team or bad. But here's what drove me. Here's why it was a rough week for the analytics. Houston scores a touchdown. They're up 36-29 with 1:50 left in the game. They elect to go for 2 instead of going up 8. They want to go up 9. They don't get it. It's 36-29. Tennessee scores a touchdown. They tie it. They go into overtime, and then they beat Houston.
Right.
Why did Houston go for 2? Well,
you know what? At some point, you're what? You're 0-5, 0-4. I mean, what are you?
They have 1 win.
Okay, so Yeah, you're 1-4, and you're playing against an undefeated team. At some point, you got to say, you know what? We're probably if we go to overtime, this team is probably gonna throttle us. Okay.
We had the same argument last week with Minnesota not kicking the field goal and be like, we want you to not only have to score a touchdown, but score a 2-point conversion.
Right.
Same
And I think
this week, and then same result.
And I think the Texans at some point played Minnesota, so it's kind of like COVID. It's just the stupidity is just spreading. It's just spreading around.
It's transmittable.
It is. And now the Texans are the victim of that terrible game. But you're right. You got to go. You got to tie them up. You got to tie them up.
Or make them tie you with the 2-point conversion.
Make them tie you. That's right. Make them tie you.
This is another sports thing where you feel old, where you turn into old man Ramirez, where you're like, just take the points. Just take the points. I feel old when I make this argument. And at some point, if I ever yell out defense wins championships, I'm just going to leave the room.
or they're not doing enough to protect your quarterback.
Right. Extend the game. So we need a list of all the old man sayings that go on during the game.
You know what it's like to golf at Ascarate. Let's go on a Saturday morning next time you're in town, and you'll hear all the sayings and all the theories these Cowboy fans have, about why the Cowboys aren't winning.
Oh yeah, you and I have golfed that course many times, and the least amount of activity that goes on there is golf. Usually, every time you and I go golfing there, which has been a handful of times, very little golf actually happens.
Very little golf.
A lot of searching for balls, a lot of rubbing dirt out of your eyes.
Also, tell me it's not paradise.
It's paradise. It's a working man's course. And then we got another shot at overtime rules. We had the overtime in Houston, Tennessee, where Tennessee got the ball first. They scored a touchdown. Game ended. Are we still okay with overtime rules?
I'm okay with it. You know what?
Touchdown wins?
The way I look at it, you had 60 minutes to win the game. So, you know what? I still think that I think I'm still okay with sudden death. But I think the NFL did a good thing. I'm okay with it. You had 60 minutes to win the game. Okay. And so sometimes it does come down to a coin flip. Sorry. Okay. But I don't hate the NFL rules. I think I'd be now that I look at it, I think I'd be more frustrated with the college rules, starting at the 25, no kickoffs. I mean, let the team win the game. Right. And so I'm okay with it. But yep. Good win for the Titans. They're 5-0, and Steelers 5-0. Are we looking back at a repeat of 2008, 2007, those years where that they had some memorable games?
I watched the coin toss for the overtime, and it's so funny. The referee says heads, tails, flips the coin. Deshaun Watson, the Houston quarterback, calls it. He calls tails. It's heads. And then you see him go, oh, he knows how big it is to win the coin toss. Watching baseball all weekend, I'm still of the thinking like, how about home team always kicks off in beginning of the game and in overtime, but you get a chance to match, kind of like the bottom of the ninth. I think you should get a chance to match, especially because everything's so offensive friendly. I think you can get a chance at least to match them. So that'd be my overtime rules. Eliminate the coin toss, home team kicks off in regulation overtime, and you get a chance to match. Other games, watch Green Bay, Tampa Bay by any chance.
Oh, you know what? That was a great first quarter by the Green Bay Packers. Great first quarter. Here's the problem. You got to play 4.
This week, if we were to give this week a name in movies, it would be like the Waterworld of weeks. High expectations, a lot of duds.
Yeah, absolutely. But
what happened to the Packers? They were up 10-0, and Troy Aikman is saying This is a really important drive for the Buccaneers. They got to get something started. And they score like 35 points in a row. And Rodgers looks like he wants to quit football.
But I think that's just going to be the NFL. Like, maybe we're not going to understand what teams are good and not good. You know what I mean? And so I don't think we're really going to know who the Super Bowl the favorite is until week 17. When we know who has
maybe.
We don't know. It's going to be a crazy year, but just when you think the Packers are cruising, but they're going to put up 60 points against anybody, they threw a dud out in Tampa Bay. So who knows what's going to happen?
They shut it down. They had the most exciting part of that game was when Brady gets poked in the eye. Someone does a face mask on him and pokes him in the eye, and his eyes are red for 3 minutes. And that was the most exciting part of the second half.
I do have a problem with them not giving our El Paso boy, our good friend Aaron Jones, didn't get him the ball. So you're playing with dynamite right there by not giving him the ball late in the game.
Also, that game had the very rare garbage time, both backup QBs go in at the end of the game.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers goes out, his backup comes in. Tom Brady goes out, his backup comes in. I love garbage time football. They try hard. The QBs actually try hard in the game. Before we get to questions, COVID corner. Had a couple thoughts. Cam Newton came back. A couple players were out. A couple players come back. But then I watched college football, and Nick Saban got the COVID scarlet letter in the middle of the week. Then he returned 2 negative tests and was okay to go back in. How long till we have an NFL coach out? It's going to happen.
I'm going to say in Alabama, football is much more important than life or death over there, okay?
Right.
I think that somebody gave him the green light when they shouldn't have, but
totally possible.
I don't know.
Totally possible. I have a couple of thoughts. First, concerning COVID protocols, just start thinking of it like it's a rule in the NFL. It's just something we have to deal with. Some guys are going to go out because of it. Staff, if it happens, okay, no practice. It's just a rule. I'm not worried about it in any sort of public health safety at all. One might argue I never was, but I'm not worried. I'm just thinking about like you have to constantly plan for losing a first stringer, coaching staff, losing a day of practice. But I have to think if a coach goes down, it's got to be very possible to isolate him and have him still coach. Don't you think? What if he coaches from the press box, put him in his little box up there, and can he still be remotely involved? What do you think?
But he's still making his way up to the press box, and I think it's unfair to put anybody who has to clean that, disinfect it or whatever. I think it's real unfair. I, for one, don't believe that Nick Saban had a negative test after his positive. But you know what? Again, it's Alabama. It's Crimson Tide football. You're playing the number 3 team in the nation. So I was not surprised that he got his negative test to coach that game.
Also with COVID protocols, I think if you're a coach, a face shield is a must, because the mask, you have to yell at some point as the coach, and they're always tugging on it. They're always putting it back up. Just go with the face shield, because you can always yell and you're never going to have to futz with the mask anymore. I think some coaches are slowly getting into the face shield more and more. The Carolina coach had one that was about 2 times the size of the normal one.
It was a full-on clear umbrella.
Yeah, I say if you're a coach, the face shield is the way to go. No mask. The mask is you can't yell.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
All right, I got some questions for the week for you.
Okay.
First question is hypothetical. Hypothetical roommate. Would you rather room with Aaron Rodgers or Cam Newton after this week? They both lost. We saw the look on Aaron Rodgers' face. We saw Cam Newton. Cam Newton looked off today. He almost looked injured. You have to roommate with one of them.
I am going to go with I'd rather room with Aaron Rodgers for two reasons. One, Cam just came back from the COVID, so obviously I don't want to catch that. So, and I think Aaron Rodgers has probably got some good nudie pics of Danica Patrick. So I am going to go with I'd rather room with Aaron Rodgers. But
I didn't think about that.
I don't think he'd show me those pics.
That was my next question. Is he the type of guy that would show you nudes of exes? You don't think so? I think it would take a lot of convincing too.
He's a dick. So no.
He would throw it out. He would be that guy, be like, I got nudes of my ex, right? You do?
Yeah.
I'm not going to show you.
Let me see.
All right, come on. Come on. I didn't think about that. That's true. I would definitely try and steal his phone, like when he goes to the bathroom or something, and be like, oh shit, he takes the fingerprint. I can't look in his pictures. I would go Cam Newton because I think he gets over the loss quicker. I think he becomes fun to deal with quicker than Aaron Rodgers probably stews over it, forgets to do the dishes.
But here's another problem. So, you're running low on clean laundry. And I mean, are you going to ask Cam Newton for some wardrobe help? I mean, we don't exactly have the same taste in wardrobe, okay?
Yeah.
Or maybe I just can't pull it off. So
maybe he's the type of guy who forces wardrobe on you. He's like, nah, dog, you got to wear this. Like, I don't like that. Wear it. And he forces you to wear like a yellow blazer.
Yeah, I think I want to go with Aaron Rodgers. But I think that Cam Newton would definitely be the cooler roommate. I think it'd be a very chill experience with Cam Newton, and I'm a huge Cam Newton fan. But we just don't have the same sense of style. You know what I mean?
Okay, question number 2. We got one team is still winless. We have a bunch of teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I count 9 teams have one win. Question: has tanking ever worked? We always hear every year like, oh, they got a tank for Trevor Lawrence. They got a tank for Zion Williams. But those teams never turn it around. Has tanking ever worked? Where did we get that term? It's one of those things where we heard the term and we liked it, and then we just keep saying it.
I will say, speaking of when we just talked about them, I want to say the last time that I saw blatant tanking, I want to say it was that year before the Panthers drafted Cam Newton. And I think they tanked it knowing they were going to go after Cam, and they got him, and he turned out to be a franchise quarterback, obviously not with them anymore, but he took him to a Super Bowl,
True.
So
okay.
But so I think that in recent memory, that's the last time I saw good tanking.
Good tanking, yeah.
Hey, I mean, is there such a thing as good tanking?
There must be, right? There's got to be some strategy to it. Tanking is like the big guys. Trevor Lawrence, say the Jets are like, all right, we get him, but like, hey, didn't you get Sam Darnold too?
I mean,
hey,
didn't you tank for Sam Darnold too?
You can't keep tanking over and over again.
You can't keep tanking for the same position either. It's not a good thing.
Oh, they're such a mess. Poor Joe Flacco's running around out there getting sacked.
And so let me tell you, again, I've been real hard on the Jets this year, but the big headline from the Jets after they lose 24-0 to the Dolphins.
That was bad.
Yeah, the Jets, Adam Gase. I wasn't happy about defensive coordinator Greg Williams' veiled shot at the offense. So, like, you got an offensive coach and a defensive coach taking shots at each other, and when you haven't won a game yet, I mean, you really have nothing to stand on. You can't score. You can't stop. So it's that organization is an absolute mess.
And how quiet do you think that bus ride is back home from the game in the Jets coaching staff bus offense? That's got to be the worst.
I think if you're Adam Gase, you shut up, because this the defensive coordinator is the guy that has actually put out bounties against people. So I think you just got to shut up and just take it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
your defensive coordinator has paid money for to people to take other people out. So if I'm Adam Gase, I'm terrified.
Yeah, if I'm the coach, at some point you got to say, all right, I am going to be fired at any point in the next couple weeks. When do you just say fuck it? And you be like, turn up the music, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's at least have some fun out there. It's
Uh,
got to happen, right? The coach has got to give up at some point.
yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Tanking. Sometimes you got to tank. Maybe you're right. Maybe tanking does work. All right, one more question for you. Put on your TV executive hat because you have to pitch a show to the CBS brass. We know CBS is very loose with their choices when it comes to programming.
Okay.
So you have to pitch one of these shows. Do you pitch A, courtroom drama, B, just move to a new city, or C, a newly married couple, or a write-in choice?
You know what? It's probably going to be a write-in choice, and I think I would model my show after the New York Jets locker room. They're terrible. It would be a sports show. You know, the courtroom stuff is all it's been done and done. The move to a new city. What's the premise there?
Yeah. Well, these are all tried and true premises. That's why I think CBS would listen to all these. Be like, guess what? They're roommates, but they don't get along. And they're like, I love it.
How about a new Dallas? Remember the 80s show Dallas? How about a new Dallas featuring Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, and it would be who's the would be the villain there? Jason Garrett. Let's do a new Dallas. I think that would be, that was the number one show in the 80s for many years, and I think that would be a great show to build on.
I don't like it. I love it.
There you go.
Ooh, a new Dallas. They reboot everything. How come this hasn't happened yet?
Can I tell you? I got to admit something. I'm rewatching every single episode of Dallas during the pandemic, and it is a great show. It is a great show. Great show. Great show.
Oh, I'm gonna have to catch up. All my rewatching goes. I go early '90s. I don't go back that far, but yeah, I'll go early '90s. I'll watch all those. I'll do a deep dive. I did a deep dive on Beverly Hills 90210 a couple months back.
J.R. Ewing taught me how to drink.
You are in a good mood. All right. Are you ready for the awards for week? What are we? Week 6.
Let's do it.
Okay. It's fall. It's October. Leaves are turning. Not here on the West Coast. It's still 95 degrees. But in rest of the country, it's fall. So this week, we are doing the pumpkin spice edition of the awards.
Okay.
I got 4 of them.
Let's go.
Number 1 award. This one's called the Black Coffee Award. This is the award goes to the No Frills, Gets the Job Done award. And this goes to the Bears defense. No flash, just got the job done. I'll take what you got. That goes to the Bears.
That you know what?
Agree?
I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree because they got the win. They're 5-1, but I'm going to say my award then going to go to Big Ben because Big Ben's riding on an undefeated team. Everyone's little darlings were the Cleveland Browns, and he came and shut them up. So my pumpkin spice, whatever you want to call it.
This one's the Black Coffee Award. Pumpkin Spice Edition.
Okay, Black Coffee just gets the job done. Ben Roethlisberger, a year removed from injury. I'll go with Big Ben.
Okay, award number 2. This one's called Would You Like It Hot or Iced Award. This one goes to Lamar Jackson. Dude's doing everything, running, throwing, scoring touchdowns. No matter what, it's good. Hot or Iced Award, Lamar Jackson.
hot or ice does everything. We're saying does everything.
I'm thinking this award is like versatility. You order something, you get it hot, it's great. You get it iced, it's great. Doesn't matter. It always works.
Well, you know what? I mean,
That's my description.
if it always has to work, wow, I think I want to go with, and I think he's on a bye this week, but I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. The guy just doesn't take a step off.
Ooh, he
Even
wins the award on a bye week. Oh my god!
you can win. When you're that good, you can win an award on a bye week. So I'm going to definitely go with Russell Wilson. The guy just figures out a way to win. It could be in the cold, it could be in the heat. He can be at full strength. He can be missing players and missing his teammates, and he's just gonna find a way. So I'm definitely gonna go with Russell Wilson.
What's your go-to order at like a Starbucks? Do you have a go-to? Or are you a black coffee
Lately,
guy?
yes, I do. It used to be a lady drink at. I used to have the red passion tea, and I'd sweeten
Oh,
that up.
really?
Yeah,
Jeez,
but
I did not see this coming from you.
I know, but that got lame. But now I'm just doing iced coffee. Give me 2 Splendas and some heavy whipping cream, and I'm fine.
Wow. I always go, this is a window into my psyche. I always in the line, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get a mocha, and I'm not getting whipped cream. I don't need the whipped cream. And then I'm like, all right, I'll take a mocha. And then the clerk will say, you want whipped cream? And I'll go, yeah. I always do it. I've noticed myself. I was like, my brain is a total reptilian brain. You say whipped cream, and I'll say, yeah, whipped cream.
You have no discipline.
I have
That's
no
the bottom
discipline.
line.
I fully admit it. All right, next award. This one is called the Bland Coffee Award, and this one goes to the expression on Aaron Rodgers' face mid fourth quarter. He had some play, I think it was a fourth down or something, and he got sacked, and he just gets up and he just shakes his head blankly. Like, this man is dangerous. Bland Coffee Award goes to Aaron Rodgers' expression this week.
I'm gonna flip that one, and I'm gonna say my bland coffee award. It's gonna go to Tom Brady because you know what? It didn't seem
Oh,
like
really? In a winning effort, huh?
he really didn't do much. I mean, there was that pick six, and then another turnover that got him deep into the Packers territory. To me, he threw one good ball to Gronk, but you know what? It wasn't impressive. But oh well, he got the win. Congratulations.
Wow, I didn't another zig when I was zagging.
There you
All
go.
right, what do you think about this? One last award. This one is called the mistake of ordering a mocha frappuccino right before getting on a flight award.
Okay.
So this award goes to the word of just general bad call. And this goes to Houston for going for 2 up by 7. I don't know how you get a worse call than that. I don't know how you get a worse call than having a full-on frappuccino and then having to sit on a flight.
That's a good point. I'm gonna
Mhm.
go with the New York Jets for fielding a football team. So my opinion is, by them fielding a football team, they automatically put themselves at a disadvantage. So uh, they're just a bad team. I'm going to be on them all year.
Good round of awards. You've stuck tough on your hatred of the Jets.
I, you know, I actually like the franchise. I wish them well, but they are to me a joke, and I think we have a good possibility of watching them go 0-16 this year.
Yeah, when do we start having the 0-16 conversation?
I think the Jets are damn
0-8?
close.
0-9?
I think the Jets are damn close to having an 0-16 year.
Oh, all right. Predictions. We got 2 games tomorrow.
Ooh.
We got KC at your beloved Bills.
Oh, this is gonna be a
The
tough one.
reverse of your Jets. You love the Bills. KC at Bills. Josh Allen at home.
We're gonna see how good Josh Allen really is. Can he go toe to toe with Pat Mahomes? I don't know. We're gonna find out tomorrow. I mean, do I like the Bills? Do I love the Bills? No. But you know what? I hope the Raiders gave them some good game tape from the week before. Maybe they can build on what the Raiders did, pressuring Pat Mahomes. So I'm definitely going to go. I think that the Chiefs should win, but I'm you know me. I'm going to go for the Bills.
I'll go Chiefs just because I never like to bet against a good team after a loss. I figure
Ooh,
they're
that's
extra
true.
motivated and they are the returning champs. So I go Chiefs on that one. Win
I
on the
like it.
road. Late game Monday night, we got Arizona at the poor Dakless
Ugh,
Dallas
Dak.
Cowboys. Dakless.
Dak.
What do we
Ugh,
call the Cowboys now since it's Andy Dalton? He needs a new
the
they call
red
him the red
rifle, the red
they
rifle.
call him the red rifle, right? So much is made about the guy's red hair, but not enough is made about his hairline. He has a very deep hairline. Andy Dalton does. It goes down kind of almost to his brow. It's very aggressive.
I don't know what's gonna happen in that game. You know what? You know the funny thing is I'm getting a little nostalgic because that's like the old NFC East. Remember the
Yeah, that's true.
Cardinals? They used to play in the NFC East
Oh yeah,
back
that's
with the
right.
Giants, Redskins, and Eagles and Cowboys. So that's a little nostalgic. But you know what? I'm gonna go with the Cardinals on this game. I think Kyler Murray. He's got the Cardinals going in the right direction. They got a big time receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. I'm gonna go with them 34-13 blowout.
Here's why I'm nervous about this game because I'm going to pick the Cowboys to have a good game and Andy Dalton gets a little buzz. And then I'm going to start having reflections of how Tony Romo lost his job to Dak Prescott because of injury. And I'm
Nice.
like, oh no, this is the same pattern. And then go back further, how Tony Romo took the job from Drew Bledsoe, not because of injury, but I was like, this is going to happen. And we're going to have a whole talk about this Andy Dalton resurgence. You know
Right.
what we should add to the conversation? You used to always say, you can't lose your job to injury. We should add to it, you can't lose your job to COVID. What if Cam Newton or something, went down for a week or two and then the backup got good? Cam Newton's like, oh, I'm back. I'm negative. Be like, I don't know. We're going to give this guy some reps. That's going to happen at some point.
Right. Right. It may. And guess what? I don't want to look too far ahead, but you know what? Next Sunday night, we got a big game too. We got Tom Brady at Derek Carr and your Las Vegas Raiders. What do you got?
Yep, you got it right. Yeah, I saw that in the promos. We got Tom Brady coming into Las Vegas to play the Raiders, who were off this week. We got, big test for everybody. I think everybody's testing this week. We got Raiders, got to see if they can win a big Sunday night game. Tampa Bay's got a little momentum. We got another Gruden Brady matchup.
Who do you like?
Well, right now, the Raiders last week with KC, everything was clicking. We were even getting calls. We were even getting pass interference calls. We were going to get pass interference, no calls on defense. Everything was clicking. I think we got a lot of momentum. And Tampa Bay still hit or miss to me. They're suspect. So I say the Raiders pull it off. I say they win by a touchdown.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is Las Vegas is all about luck. Tom Brady, 6 Super Bowls. Fairly handsome guy, married a supermodel who probably was worth $1 billion herself. So you know what? I'm gonna go with that's the luckiest man on earth, and he's gonna ride his luck and beat the Oakland Raiders, Vegas Raiders. I'm sorry,
man. He's got a pair of 7s for sure.
For sure.
That's right. I didn't think about the luck factor. You have to factor that in with Vegas now.
Absolutely.
You have to factor in my stepdad Raiders. You know what? I'm calling them the stepdad Raiders for at least this year because I'm gonna forget. And then also a few Monday nights ago when they played Monday night and then they showed, the Raiders stadium and they got like Elvis, in like Raiders gear. And it's like Las Vegas just totally adopted everything Raiders. And I felt kind of dirty. I was like, oh, you're doing like, do you ever like date some chick and then you break up and then you see her and she's wearing like the new boyfriend's Letterman's jacket or something? You're like, oh, what the fuck, man? That's how I felt with Las Vegas. Like, I'm not ready, dude. I'm not ready. Not Elvis Raiders yet. Not ready.
Not ready.
Stepdad Raiders. Well, it was a good week.
Great week.
As usual, we figured some stuff out and some stuff we still have no idea what's going on.
Well, let's see what happens.
All right. Good talk. That is it for the show, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Omar Carmona. His 49ers won. That dude is in a good mood. I'm not sure if he's still drinking or not. Somebody might have to check on him. I want to thank everybody who listened and also everyone who checked out my other shows too, Running It Back. Got 2 shows on this channel. Lots of stuff to listen to. Hey, if you like it, give it a like, give it a subscribe on the channel. I see them all, so I appreciate your support. Next week, another round of games with me and Omar, and this Thursday, another episode of Running It Back. Thank you, everybody. Be well.